People aren't drinking no more.
Well done by the folks with the music there. A look at Louisville, Kentucky. Iconic whiskey brand Jim Beam says it'll temporarily shutter its main Kentucky distillery in the new year. Chief Congressional Correspondent and a man who would know all about that, Chad Pergram, live in Washington. So tell me, my friend, what does all this mean for distilled spirits?
Kevin, good afternoon. It underscores the downturn in the alcohol industry. People are consuming less booze, and there's been a glut of bourbon and scotch on the market for years. People drink 6% less than they did 2 years ago. Lots of distillers are slowing production, but putting Jim Beam on ice jarred the industry.
It's some of the biggest news to come out of Kentucky in quite some time, and this is one of the most iconic brands in bourbon. So for them to take a step back and say, whoa, we got to hit pause. We need to do this to level out production until that demand goes up is a huge deal.
Beam will still make bourbon at 2 other distilleries. Tariffs drove part of this, especially in Canada. 10% of all Jim Beam was sold north of the border.
In Canada especially, right? That has been taken on as a kind of a national mission to, let's, for Canadians, they're saying, let's buy Canadian and push back against the politics they don't like coming from the U.S. So,
What we see here is Jim Beam, they're slowing down production of their whiskey, basically out of their Kentucky distillery. They're going to shut it down for a little bit and pause. It's simply because people aren't drinking no more. People really slowed down on drinking. Drinking is not what it used to be. It's not a social thing anymore, right? People are trying to say, oh, it's the tariff. Canada was only, responsible for 10% of Jim Beam sales. Really was is in the United States, people just don't drink. Why? It's because, the club culture has went down immensely. Bar culture has went down immensely. Nobody's going to the bars. Nobody's going to the club. I would definitely say you could probably thank women about that because women are saying, I don't need a man. So men I don't need to go to the club to pay for drinks. Also, too, I think a big thing that we have to pay attention to is this now. The Wegovy pill, Ozempic has definitely slowed down because now people are on these things to be healthy. They don't crave alcohol anymore. So I think just Jim Beam, this is what you see in business, man. You're going to have to restructure and figure out where you need to get in at. So, and there's too much. So if there's too much of something, we got to bring the prices down so we can sell it. And then we got to shut down a couple operations for the time being.
Want to see the full clip? Head to Mr. Marcus World YouTube channel. Link is in the bio.